Let's go!
I was checking out the scouting report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me.
Hey.
Your organization is looking stressed.
What?
And now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach G. Yeah, we live with your boy Monty.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed. And now that you haters is running from me.
Episode 18, here we are. We're live. Welcome into another edition, another episode of The Rewind. Monty Moss alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Chicago's finest, Temple alum, four-time state champion, over 400 career wins in his co-head coaching career. He is also in the Newark Hall of Fame. Shout out to BG. Bryant, what's good? Another episode, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. You know, I come to do what I do, and it feels good to be here yet again.
Yet again. I feel like I just saw you yesterday, but last week, if you didn't, we had a really good episode for you guys with Newark, New Jersey, or I'd say New Jersey basketball greatness in general with Coach Philip Colicchio came on and blessed us with his time, even though he's not a fan of hockey. And I'm sure Chris, our producer, is not hopefully not too upset about it, even though his Maple Leafs are playing tonight. We'll get into that later on in tonight's episode. But if you haven't, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Rewind_GSE3, as well as follow us on all platforms at The Rewind GSE3. Merchandise, spring and summer, we got some things coming to you guys. Just be a little patient. I know everyone wants everything right away, but these things take time. As well as our photo shoot for our brand will be in June. That date is yet to be determined, but we'll keep you guys posted with that. Bryant, NBA playoffs are underway, but we got two good guests coming on tonight, both who cleared their calendars to bless us with their presence. One I know very personally, another one who is a mentor and always have been kind whenever I reached out to him with as far as advice. I was at one point living in Rhode Island 2 years ago and right next door to him in Bristol, Connecticut. But Bryant, how do you feel about tonight's show, my man?
I'm feeling great. I'm here. I'm here to represent Coach Williams with this tight ass shirt on, like suffocating in this bare shirt. But this is Coach Williams. Coach Williams is one of my basketball coaches at the East Side. He used to wear all these tight ass shirts. Even his clothes were so tight, even his tie was tight. It was just so bad. So at the end of the day, today is a shout out to Coach Williams. And I just threw on this bare shirt because I know it's extra medium, and I had to put it on. And I'm over here talking, and I'm always choking and gagging. And I got to try to breathe and try to talk at the same time. So, Coach Williams, today is for you.
So that means like tonight, you barely will talk tonight. So our guest, as long as myself, will have the floor most of the night, correct?
Oh, hell no. You know, this shirt is squeezing everything out today. It just going to squeeze all the words out. I sat there and looked at it. I said, hey, this is for Coach Williams. I feel like suffocating my words. But, you know, it's going to go on. It's going to be live. And we should be over at D Nice tonight. And he has his little show today. But he had it on a Wednesday. Like, yep. A Wednesday. I can't do things on Wednesday. I could have sworn, I forgot we talked about that last month. It said it was on a Wednesday. I thought it was on a weekend, and next week I was going to go down, but it's on a Wednesday. Can't get to Baltimore on Wednesdays. I'm sorry, but you know we're missing a good show that he's got going on over there, and we're definitely going to catch the next one.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to our big brother, D Nice, who always supports the Rewind, has supported us since the launch, as well as he supported us with merchandise and purchasing. He has an event tonight in Baltimore, CQ5. If you guys haven't been, 5 years of CQ since he started in 2020. He has a great lineup tonight down there in Baltimore. But as Brian said, not also do we have to do the Rewind on a Wednesday, but there was no way we would get down to Baltimore and with all the chaos and festivities taking place, and then to get ready to come back to, I guess, home, I'd say, on a Thursday. So shout out to D-Nice, shout out to all the CQ folks down there having a great time. I know you guys are going to wish we were there with you guys to celebrate and just bring in the love, but we'll definitely catch D-Nice and the club quarantine train at some point at his next event. I'll figure it out at some point when's his next event going to be. But let's get this thing cracking. Let's get this show on the road. Our first guest, as a Patriot fan, it really pains me to introduce this man. It really does, because not also do I have to see this team, his sorry-ass team, I should say, twice a year. But, you know, he's a big brother to me. He's always been supportive of anything I've done. And he's also been a proud person that has supported the brand since day one also, with purchasing gear, sharing stuff on social media, just doing his part as a big brother and as a person that is always giving back and always putting others first. That I will say, acts of service, as he say, that he's big on. So our first day coming on is a passionate educator, leader, and lifelong learner who sees the intersection of sports, music, and education as powerful tools for growth and connection. A proud native of East Orange and Dover, New Jersey. This person's diverse experiences have shaped his commitment to equity, relationship building, and student empowerment. With degrees from Lebanon Valley College and Montclair State University, this brother has served as a teacher, coach, and administrator across Newark, East Orange, and Perth Amboy, and now proudly serves as principal of the Plainfield Academy for the Arts and Advanced Studies. His leadership fostered thriving programs in character education, SEL, and the arts. A former athlete and avid sports enthusiast, this person sees athletics as a natural extension of education, teaching discipline, teamwork, and resilience. His love for sports deeply influences his leadership style, goal-driven, team-oriented, and focused on developing potential in others. A dedicated member and former leader of Iota Phi Theta fraternity, Greg continues to impact lives through mentorship, service, and organizational growth. He believes true leadership is rooted in humility, service, and lifting others as you climb. He is also a proud member of the high-end cigar families, as myself, thanks to him. But I want to welcome in my favorite New York Jet, my favorite Laker fan. His first edition is on episode 18 of The Rewind. Greg, Mr. Sneed, Principal Sneed, as they say. Class may be in session tonight, but want to welcome you into The Rewind. What's good, brother? Good to see you. How are you?
It's a beautiful day. Thank you so much, Brian and Monty, for having me on. It's been long overdue. I should have been on episode number 1, but that's a different story. I'm not even going to hold it against you. You know what I mean? But it's good to see the brothers doing some great stuff. I'm an avid sports fan. I played football, basketball. I love the sports world. I use analogies all day with my kids and with my teachers and so forth. So much support, and most importantly, much support to my organization, Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, family and friends. And so forth. So, with that being said, it is a pleasure to be here on this platform with such great men to talk about the world of sports, but also to see how it impacts our everyday lives. So shout out. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Greg, you're a Jets fan. You must be in eternal pain.
Brian, I came in peace, but I don't have to be peaceful anymore. So this whole thing with these Bears, we should have had 2 of your first round picks, Khalil Mack, and we should have had Justin Fields. That's a front office issue. You know what I'm saying? But I will tell you, I'm very excited for this upcoming season, as I always am, even with some of the disappointments that we've had. I'm sure you can identify with those too, Bryant. I'm sure you can identify with those too, Monty, the last couple of years. You know what I mean? So disappointment seems to be the common denominator for just a few years right now, until this year.
I would say one thing about few. Monty and I have a few. You have an eternity.
Oh, well, I disagree. That is okay. What I will say is, to be honest, even with a 5-12 season last year, there were many just possessions where it could have gone the other way.
You're right.
It could have gone the other way, but it didn't. So let's just be clear about that, right?
Yeah.
But you always have to be very, very optimistic. Very, very optimistic. You know what I mean?
They've been saying that since 1971, I think.
1969.
69. That's right. That was before I was born. That's why I can remember.
I wouldn't even thought of.
That was before I was born, and I was born in 1970. So you talk about 55 years.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. I'll tell you what. Can't nobody tell me when they get it that I haven't been loyal this entire time. So,
you are one loyal guy.
At the end of the day, man, you know what? Anybody will tell you I am a loyal person.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I will say is, there have been some seasons where we were right there. Mm-hmm. There were some times where we were right there. You think about that one pass from Roethlisberger over to, I believe it was Santonio Holmes. We would have been from the AFC Championship right into, was it Santonio Holmes? I believe it was Santonio Holmes. But we would have been right there. That was that Pittsburgh game, AFC Championship. You think about, and in that year, we actually did beat the Patriots to get to the AFC Championship.
You did.
That run game, Green, again, anything can happen, right? So
when we talk about the New York Jets, Greg, especially in recent memory, I can't remember the last great memory the Jets have in the last 10 years. Actually, I take that back. Do you remember that game when you guys played when Mark Sanchez was your quarterback and you had the butt fumble that game?
Oh man, of course, man. I mean, come on, that's your best example you can come up with.
I can go further. A
really good one would be just watching Hard Knocks for an entire summer, only for the first game for that to be over. You know, what I mean? that would be a good memory right there, man. That would be a memory. If I was in opposition to the Jets, I would say, yo, as a Jets fan, you waited all that time, only to come on 9/11, God rest their souls, to now have you come out and lose your star quarterback in 3 plays. You tell me a bigger nightmare.
Was your coach, was it Richie Kotite at that time?
No, their coach right then was Robert Saleh.
That was Saleh.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I thought was a very good defensive mind. I thought he was good. But
it was. We're not going to talk about what the Jets did to him last year before the Monday night game against Buffalo, and that was pretty much a turning point for the Jets season. But we have another guest to bring on and another member of a D9 organization. This brother here was born in Norfolk, Virginia. Joining us is a loving husband, father, son, uncle, nephew, friend, and has been with ESPN since February of 2003. Let's welcome in SportsCenter Anchor's very own Jay Harris. Fun fact, if you didn't know, Jay also shares the same birthday as the great Julius Erving, and he is a member of fraternity, as you can see, wearing the colors. We got Iota, we got an Alpha. Bryant, I mean, I know we had some conversations about the grad chapter process and what it looks like and who we're thinking about going to. But let's welcome in the great Jay Harris. Jay, appreciate you taking the time to come on the Rewind. I know you are busy on things on your end, but we appreciate you taking the time. Welcome in. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Good to be here, fellas. Good to be here. I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Jay, you are an icon, man. ESPN, man. Look, one day, this gentleman here in the left side here in that corner, he's going to get there and he's going to lead the way, just like Stuart Scott and the rest of you and Jay and so on and so on. I have big, major aspirations for this young man, and he's got me dragged on this show, and I'm up here with a bunch of great guys, and it's good to meet all these people, especially when you're an alpha man and an iota. I love both of you. Keep doing what the great things that you guys do.
Absolutely. Well, I hope the young man takes his time, because I still got bills to pay. I'm not ready to give it up yet.
Yeah, look, Jay. I don't know how old you are, but I think he's the youngest man in the corner. So he's in his 20s, and I'm 54. So
I'm 60, and I got all the grades.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep my hat on. I ain't got no grades.
You over there rocking the Cisco look.
Listen.
And I didn't have to diet to get there. It's just
I see that. Don't bring Mike Tyson on here talking about that thong song. Hey, I don't like the thong song.
See, I don't even now. I don't play with Mike. I don't play with Mike.
No trouble.
I will be forever scared of Mike Tyson. No.
Well, one thing's for sure and two things for certain. We know Jay damn sure doesn't have any misery for those New York Jets. So I think tonight's episode is going to be great. I can feel it in the air. And Greg, just hang on. We're with us. You're going to be okay. You're going to be good.
One thing about this with these organizations, listen, we go through scrutiny all the time. In order to get there, you had to go through something. You don't know nothing about that yet. So I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna tell you like this. I've been through some pain, blood, sweat, and tears, brother. Listen, didn't your partner just say? Bryant just said you have to be loyal to be a Jets fan for this long and deal with so much disappointment.
That's a different kind of pain.
That's a different kind of pain.
Yeah.
It is a different kind of pain. But you know what, though? It brings a lot more optimism and it brings a lot more strength. You know what you can handle. So
that's true. Character building.
Listen, character building in its finest. And that's what I do. That's what I do for a living. So, hey, it is what we do.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it, gents.
You've been doing a lot of building.
Playoffs update.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely. Doing a lot of building. Build a huge tradition, not one. Absolutely. Now listen, we're gonna remember this. I'm gonna tell you right now, we're gonna remember this. It's gonna
This
be
episode will be on all platforms. It'll be clipped for America to see, for the world to see.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the Jets do finally win something, which we don't know when that will be, you have the opportunity to come back to this episode, clip it, grab it, share it. There you go. No problem.
Hey man, not
I'm
everybody
big on
can be
accountability.
great. Not everybody can be great. That's all.
Absolutely. NBA playoffs update, folks. Of course, Greg and my Lakers have already been out in the Atlantic Ocean going fishing, but we got some second-round coverage underway, as well as some games that's going on tonight that I'll give an update on as we go on throughout tonight's episode. Bryant, the Pacers closed out the series 4-1. I know you were big on Indiana to come into the series against Cleveland with a 114-105 win in Game 5. Tyrese Halliburton was just unstoppable in that game with over 30 points. Bryant, the Pacers advanced to back-to-back years to the Eastern Conference Final. They've been an underdog pretty much throughout the entire year, not getting the credit that they deserve. But for the Cavs, they had a lot of high hopes coming into this year, of course, with the new addition, the job that Kenny Atkinson has done, of course, with Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and others, Darius Garland. Best team in the Eastern Conference, of course, Kenny Atkinson winning Coach of the Year. You were really big on that. You thought that the award was well-deserving, even though, of course, Detroit's Coach Bickerstaff had the great argument that he should have been awarded the NBA Coach of the Year. But for this Cavs team, Brian, of course, losing and going home in the second round, which fans thought, they had a good shot to get to Eastern Conference Finals. But when you look at this year for the Cavs, do you see this season as a failure for this team?
I don't see it as a failure. They've gotten there, without LeBron, which I can consider it as a success. But looking at a stat, I think that Cleveland was 0-5 against Indiana this year. And that's a notable stat to understand that they could not beat Indiana all year long. And so to say that Indiana does not deserve this, my hat goes off to Indiana. They really kicked their ass. I mean, for all season long and in the playoffs, they really whooped them. And I was shocked by that. I thought that Cleveland would come out and turn up a notch because they were beaten that bad during the regular season, but they didn't. And Indiana is one of those teams that, if I'm on the West, I'll be kind of scared to say that Indiana may wind up winning a championship here out of this whole thing. And it's surprisingly, because nobody expected this to happen. But I can see this happening. I'm amazed by it. I can really see it. And I'm going to root for Indiana because, like I said in the last show, I can walk across the street in Chicago, in like 5 footsteps, and I can be in Indiana. So go Pacers.
Greg, what's your take on this Cavs team? Because, of course, we know it was the first 2 games they were out, of course, with star Evan Mobley and without Darius Garland, 2 key players for this Cavaliers team, both offensively and defensively. But getting blown out in Indiana and then obviously coming back home and losing on the home court for Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell was just pretty much phenomenal throughout this series. He did what he had to do from an individual standpoint with trying to will his team to victory, scoring multiple 40-point games throughout this series, as well as scoring 38 in the Game 5 loss. But what do you look forward to seeing from Indiana with them already waiting to see the winner of the Celtics and New York Knicks game that's going on? Of course, the Knicks are being up 3-1, but ideally everyone's saying that the Knicks and Pacers will meet up for the Eastern Conference Final. Do you look forward to that? And what's your take on this Indiana team in general throughout this season?
Well, I got 3 things with that, and that's a great question. Number one, Cleveland is realizing, and Donovan Mitchell's realizing, 40 points a game for 5 games straight, things of that nature. You can't last that long putting in that type of work. You got to put your team on your shoulders. That's a lot, right? Number 2, Indiana has a squad. They're very, very underrated, but like we were saying before, they are big. They're big. They're athletic. They have a hunger for the game, and many times we've seen how an underdog gets motivated, right? The third thing I will say is it actually brings some nostalgia back. You know what I mean? New York Knicks, presumably, against the Indiana Pacers, that brings a whole different, organic or dynamic, I should say, to the playoffs. So, do I see Indiana actually being a championship contender? Absolutely. I do think that their game is one that slows down a lot of these fast teams because of that defensive presence. I mean, you talk about just Tyrese Halliburton, a 6'6", 6'7", that type of guard. Jalen Brunson trying to guard him. Come on now. We got to think about that, right? We look at Siakam. You come down the paint, you're just going to see it. So it brings back kind of like that old school feel a little bit of slower basketball, slower paced basketball, where you really have to use your basketball knowledge rather than just athleticism. So I do see Indiana doing some good work with that. West Coast, I don't know. I don't know who's going to be able to hold them, really, to be honest with you.
We shall see. Jay, I'll turn it over to you. Game 5 tonight, of course, between the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks at the TD Garden. The Knicks are up 3-1 coming into this game. If you didn't know, last game, Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles in Game 4. He did have successful Achilles surgery on Tuesday morning. He will be out for the entire year of next NBA season, so the Celtics will have to figure things out going into next year. But, however, Jay, what do you expect to see from the Celtics tonight in a must-win game, and what's your take on Jason Tatum's Achilles tear injury?
Coming into the game, I thought, like many people, that Boston was going to win this game. I mean, you can talk about the heart of a champion. You can talk about the better team in this series. If were it not for some bad shooting, some untimely bad shooting, this may be a sweep in the other direction. So, I mean, I fully expected Boston to come out and play like they're supposed to play. I think New York is making a mistake by not jumping on Boston without Tatum. I understand if you want to go back home and win it on your home court, but that's a dangerous game to play in the NBA because it's not like they've been the best team in this series. And the way Boston is winning, putting a whooping on them, when we get to New York, Boston can do it again, even without Tatum. So, I mean, when New York is good, the NBA is better. But New York needs to come out and finish this. They really do.
Quick update. Go ahead, Bryant.
It's one thing, too, that you sit there and say, hey, they were up by 20 with Tatum, but then now without Tatum, Tatum is shooting 1,001 threes. Mm-hmm. Now you take that away. Now they're playing regular basketball. It's a problem because now it changed your whole defensive dynamic by, all right, we're not looking at, just let them contest the 3-point shot and just box out and just rebound and let's go. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to run sets here and there. Now it's a whole different. So when you change an offense, now defensively it makes you change and you can't change off a dime. So it's going to be a battle. That Game 6, I think if New York is losing right now, that Game 6 is going to come down to a 1 or 2 point game. It's just what it is. It's going to be a hard-fought game and probably going to Game 7 with New York being very nervous.
Plus, Boston has nothing to lose.
No.
They're not supposed to win this. They're playing free.
They are.
They're just playing really free. I mean, it's just going to be very interesting.
Each team has only won one game at home, and think about that for a second. There's something about being that underdog in someone else's arena that brings a different type of motivation, and some people like that. Some people like that as a motivation. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now the Boston Celtics are up 122-96 with 1:49 left in the fourth on TNT. Wow. Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller has the call for you guys. But looking at the Celtics, everyone talked about leading into this game what Jaylen Brown would do, being Mr. $300 million man with his contract with the Celtics. Right now, in 37 minutes of play, he has 26 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, 9 of 17 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. And his partners have contributed. Derek White, 34 points right now, 9 of 16 from the field. Peyton Pritchard, of course, the sixth man of the year, in my opinion, who should be awarded that. 39 minutes of play, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 of 6, 6 of 17 from the field. But for the Knicks, they've struggled from the stat line. Mikal Bridges, 39 minutes, only has 9 points. Mitchell Robinson, 23 minutes, 8 points, 13 rebounds. Jalen Brunson, 22 points, 7 of 17 from the field. Karl Anthony Towns, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5-11 from the field. And Anunoby, who was a big factor in that Game 5 win, only has 6 points, 8 rebounds. He's 1 of 12 from the field. But just some quick stats for this game. New York has turned the ball over 10 times to Boston's 8. Celtics are out-rebounding them in the offensive rebound category. And the Celtics are 22 of 49, while the Knicks are shooting 11 of 29 from 3. So 49 3-pointers in the basketball game is insane. That's, of course, the Celtics' identity and MO has been there all season. But they're going back to the Garden, where if you're the New York Knicks, you're now in a must-win game, as Jay touched on, because you go down, you let the Celtics get the momentum and go into the Garden, win 3-3, going into Game 7 in TD Garden. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And if I'm Knicks fans, I'd be scared as hell. So, Bryant, Jay, Greg, I'll get you guys input on this before we go on to our next topic. What are some things you guys looking forward to seeing from the Celtics, as well as the game in general, with the Celtics going back to the Garden down 3-2?
I'm going to say just what Jay said. I mean, they're playing free. They're playing free. They don't have the restriction of having a big star that you'd expect them to put up, maybe 25, 30 shots a game, most of them from 3, to carry that load. And so, when you have a distributed level of leadership, sometimes it makes them feel more comfortable, right? And you don't feel like as if you have to distribute the ball to the star all the time. So that brings up some defensive issues for New York, which we've already have seen. I mean, they can't switch off a guard for their lives. They really can't. I mean, you see that cross pass coming. Someone's always open shooting threes. I mean, it's just like, what are we going to do, New York? And you're talking with a team that has a defensive coach in Tom Thibodeau. So I think that with Boston, they have a very, very good opportunity. I say this as a Lakers fan. They have a very good opportunity to try to even out this series, if not to prove a point that they can win over a team that they were down 3-1 without their star.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Brian.
No, my theory, we spoke about this earlier. There's 3 games that they were down by 20-plus points with and without Tatum. It's just what it is. You just don't be down 20 points. Boston let them off the hook twice. This game, they didn't let them off the hook.
No.
I'm like, hey, this game here, they're going to come out and play some defense like dogs because they have nothing to lose. Just like Greg said, they have nothing to lose. So, it's I think that Brunson is going to have to pull something out of his hat. I think Bridges is going to have to almost damn near be perfect.
They're going
to be able to do what he needs to do because, Karl Anthony Towns, my high school held him to 7 points. The only one that ever did it all year when we won a state championship. I had to put that in there. We're the only ones that held him to 7 points. So defensively, I know how to hold him off. You shut him off and keep him off the boards. You isolate everybody else. They're in trouble. They're in some major, major trouble. And you have a fresh 6-man that's coming off the bench. Now you got a 7-man that's coming off the bench and you don't know anything too much about. You have some issues. That one person make a hell of a difference, and they're playing street yard ball, and they just had nothing to lose. That's just my take on it, and I hope they lose.
6 Celtics players were in double figures tonight. Cornette had a game-high 7 blocks for the Celtics.
Who had a game-high 7 blocks?
Cornette.
Luke Cornette?
Luke Cornette.
Exactly. Boston's rotation without Tatum seems to have widened, and the Knicks rotation is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Joe Mazzulla played all his guys all year. They're like, okay, let's just go ball. Thibodeau can't do that because they haven't played. This is setting up to be it's something crazy. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's setting up to being the second team that probably ever won it in 7 and came down from 3-1 since Cleveland.
Yeah,
that's what it's that's setting it up. It's setting it up for that to happen.
Boy,
listen, anything's possible.
Here we go, folks.
Anything's possible with this. I mean, it is one of those things where you have that X factor player in the playoffs. It is a long stretch for Cornette to have 7 blocks.
Yeah.
Now think about it. You go back in there, you're kind of like, I don't know if I want to throw this ball up or not. I mean, it has its advantages. Not to mention, we just said Tom Thibodeau only plays what? 8 players, 10 players?
7 guys. I mean, throughout the season, the Knicks led the NBA in starting 5 minutes played throughout the entire year, including the playoffs. I mean, he's always played his guys 35 or more minutes. And the wear and tear, I've said it before the playoffs, that stat came out before the NBA All-Star break, and here we are where you have to go back to New York where all the pressure's on the Knicks now, because if you're Boston, you coming in there with a great team win at home. You have all the fire on you, and the Knicks have to come out and play a good game. They can't afford to come out like they did tonight. I mean, Boston was just pretty much dominating the entire game from start to finish, and we look forward to seeing what this Celtics team is going to come out and do. I expect them to go into the Garden and not also get the victory, but come back to the TD Garden for a Game 7, because it's going to take a whole lot of things to go the right way for the Knicks if they want to win at home compared to the Boston Celtics, where they're going to need a whole lot of things to go wrong for them to lose. And Joe Mazzulla, one thing about him, he doesn't lose 2 games in a row, especially when the game's on the line. I trust Joe Mazzulla with my life on it more than I trust Tom Thibodeau, because, as Jay said, this Boston Celtics team, he used their roster from start to finish throughout the year. Those guys know next man up mentality. And Jaylen Brown, being Mr. $300 million man, came out and showed it. And Tom Thibodeau's got a lot to figure out along with his coaching staff. So we shall see, with Game 6 being on Friday. Timing will be to be determined. But Nuggets and OKC, Greg. OKC up 3-2. Thunder won Game 5, 112-102. The Oklahoma City Thunder in that game was just pretty much everything that they needed to do to win. Russell Westbrook was a non-factor in this. I talked to Brian about it before in previous episode about how much of an impact player he was for this Nuggets team off the bench, but was a non-factor in this one on the road. Greg, with Game 6 going back to Denver, we know this has probably been one of the best series by far throughout the entire NBA playoffs. Do you think, or do you see, I should say, Denver forcing a Game 7 going back to Oklahoma City?
You know what? I have to be honest. I don't know if I see that. I don't see that. I think that Denver has been very, very inconsistent. I think they haven't been as dominant as they could be. I think, especially with Russell Westbrook, you don't know if he's going to be the shooting Westbrook that game or whether he's going to be the defensive, in the paint Westbrook. And even Jamal Murray, I think Jamal Murray is kind of trying to balance between those two. And in fact, I think Jamal Murray should be the center or the next person behind Joker within this offense. But I just don't see them being as consistent, especially defensively when you're going against a young team, a young OKC team. Again, it kind of compares to this now Celtics team, right? You don't really have, you do have the MVP, right? But at the same time, you still have some young talent that still feels they still have to establish themselves and make sure that they are a presence within this league, particularly in the playoffs. And what better for them to now seal it tonight and say, you know what, go home. So I see Denver going home.
Denver's exhausted. They're just, maybe going back home to the altitude will be good for them, but I don't think so. OKC's been the best team in the NBA all year. The best defensive team. They've got the presumed MVP. Mm-hmm. And Denver is just tired. And OKC can come at you in waves too, just the same way Boston can. I think OKC finishes it. That's just me.
Yeah, I think they just a young team, man. They're young and hungry. They're freaking dogs. And I thought in the finals it would be Cleveland and OKC, but I was wrong about Cleveland. It could be OKC and Indiana. I think that'd be a great series. You got 2 young teams going at it. I'll sit down and watch all 7 games if it goes to 7. Denver, anytime when you see Joker sit there shooting fadeaway threes from like 45 feet deep, it's those are prayers to me. They just happen to go in because he's that much skillful for shooting the ball like that. But you got problems because 9 times out of 10, those are not going to fall. And these guys are putting pressure. Pressure breaks pipes. It's just that simple. And they're exhausted, and it's time for them to go home. They did some crazy stuff in front office, and they just I don't know what Denver issues are, but Oklahoma is just a solid basketball team that can possibly do what they do here in the finals. I had Oklahoma as going to the finals, and now I see them playing against the Pacers. I hope that does happen. I think it's great for basketball having 2 fresh new teams in there going at and playing some good basketball so people can watch it instead of boost those ratings up. Because someone said something about the ratings are up this year. And I'm like, in the 90s, the ratings were at 3 to 5 million. Now you're at 1.75. I don't know what you mean by up, because to me, that's a slope going down. I don't know.
I think the other X factor, to be honest with you, we didn't talk about some of these other unnamed players like Lou Dort, for example, right? Now, who's he playing defense against? He's playing defense against Jamal Murray. When you got Jamal Murray having to take 27 shots to score 28 points, that's what you want a defender to be able to do, to make him have to work for it. And for every one of those shots that he takes, somebody else is not able to take another one and possibly make it. You have hard baskets to make. So that in and of itself really, again, slows that offense down big time. You really got to look at even Caruso, some of the other guys, Wallace, right? Again, they're battling each other to get time. And while they're doing such, they're confining a very, very championship caliber team if they were not tired, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jokic is the man. He is all world, but he is by himself in that position. Yep. Who's coming in to spell Jokic? No one. He's got to play. And he's
Yeah, that's a good point that both you guys have made, because, of course, when we look at this Denver Nuggets team, not also have they lost Michael Malone, NBA champion with the organization, they also lost half their bench coming into the season. And the bench that they lost were experienced players that, of course, had the willpower to get them out of games that they lost, of course, last game. But you can't have – one thing about the playoffs, you got to have consistency at least throughout most of the series. And when we look at this Nuggets team, if I'm Oklahoma City, they've done a great job. You know Joker's going to go out and get his. You know Jamal Murray's going to go out and go and get his. But who else on this Nugget team is going to beat me? It's not going to be Aaron Gordon. It's not going to be Michael Porter Jr., who had 2 points in the last game, which is unacceptable if you're the Nuggets, because there's no way you're out there for over 35 minutes of play and you're only going to give me 2 points. So Oklahoma City's game plan, look, they've been one of the best NBA defensive teams in the league this year. And it's fine. Look, we already know what we can expect from the 2 juggernauts for Denver. But when you got other players that's gonna beat us, let's see what happens. So Game 6, I'm with Jay, I'm with Greg, I'm with Bryant. I'm looking forward to seeing Oklahoma City close this thing out and get ready for the Western Conference Final against the Minnesota Timberwolves, because I think right there that's going to be a hell of a series that has all the fundamentals and sauce and ingredients to go to a Game 7 and you know, we get to see 2 of the best players in the West go at it, between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, and, of course, Anthony Edwards, who's been balling all series against his Warriors team. So I look forward to that. And, Brian, you talk about the Pacers and of course, you know, Oklahoma City. But Anthony Edwards, I mean, look, this man is a Timberwolves team.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, because I told you that Minnesota was tough. And you guys sat there and told me that they were going to get beat in the first round. And I said, it was you and Matt. And I was like this. Okay, can they win without? I said, okay, they're tough. I'm telling you. I said, Anthony Edwards, he's tough. He's not going to lose it. Lou, do you know we sit over here talking about Minnesota, so I don't even want to hear it. Didn't Denver lose their coach too in the middle of the season?
Before the regular season ended.
Right, but it's all right, right before the season. That's insane to be here right now.
Yeah. When is the last time you saw a head coach get his team to the playoffs and get fired before they start the playoffs? That's like getting fired on your day off. That's like that movie Friday. How does that happen? How does that happen?
Greg, What's worse, getting fired on your day off, or when we look at Mike Brown and the Sacramento Kings, he's on his way to the airport with the team, to the airplane, to the team, and gets fired on his way to the airport.
I'll do one better for you. I'm a Jets fan, right? And I'm going to bring the heat back on me. Robert Saleh didn't even leave Europe. They left Europe. He gets back. He's going to the facility. He walks in the facility. They say, come upstairs. Give us your keys. Go back downstairs. Go home. They told him just to leave. He just got done from an 8-hour flight from Europe. And they told him, yo, take your ass home. That's just wrong.
That's wild.
That's just wild, right? In the name of professional sports, at least let the man carry himself out. At least let the man know, listen, This one is the decider right here. You got to get this one to continue, right? They didn't give him no notice, no nothing. It was like watching Isaiah Thomas. I was watching Isaiah Thomas and Larry Bird. They were doing an interview with Reggie Miller, and Isaiah Thomas says, I walked in, and Larry said, we're thinking about going in a different direction. Isaiah Thomas says, I disagree. I think we could do some great things together. And this is right before they hired Rick Carlisle. And then Larry Bird goes, yeah, you're saying some right things, but I really like Rick Carlisle a lot better. That's just what it is. Like him, It's just a terrible thing, man. But hey, that's just crazy. So
I'm just glad you pivoted away from the Jets because all that trauma was coming out, and I want to reach through and just give you a hug, brother. I just want to hug you.
I'm just giving you some concrete examples here. It's not even about my interpretation. I'm just saying, any of us, if we were to walk into our jobs and they told us, you done with no type of reason or just no type of warning, anybody would be upset. Anybody would be mad, right? I'm just saying, watching.
That's true.
And I'm still employed, thank God, right? Watching that, you're like, damn, this brother just got played. That's not even fair.
The Jets has so many players and just haven't. At least the Bears can do something with some of those players. I mean, something. Not the past 3 years.
What?
3 years they've been like, Lord have mercy. With the coaches was, oh my God! But they should have never fired my coach. It's been downhill.
Are you heaping praise on the Bears?
Yes.
Bless your heart.
Yes.
Bless your heart.
Yes. We're making changes this year. It's coming. We're going to be an 8-8 team this year. We're going to be 500. I'm playing for 500 this year. 500.
Stay with me.
500.
Stay with me. We shall see. Jay, I want to get your insight on this Warriors and Timberwolves series. Minnesota having a 3-1 lead. Steph Curry, no, not a fact, didn't play in Game 4. Two-part question: how surprised were you with Jimmy Butler's performance in Game 4? 34 minutes of play. He was 5 of 9 from the field, all 1 from 3, 6 rebounds, only finishing with 14 points. This is one of the reasons why Golden State traded for him, for moments like this, being the leader that he can be. With this game taking place tonight between the Warriors and Timberwolves in Minnesota, do you think Golden State has a shot to win this game on the road to force a Game 6?
I mean, they have a shot. They're going to play basketball. I don't think they're going to win. But I don't think I would heap a lot of blame onto Jimmy Butler. They brought Jimmy Butler to be a compliment for Steph Curry. Steph Curry ain't playing. And Jimmy Butler is older. He's still in a new spot. I would put more onus on the other Warriors that have been there, that have had to play without Steph a little bit more in the past and know the things that they need to do. I mean, I would put more onus on Kuminga, on Draymond, even the young fella, Pajemski.
Miles Moody?
Okay. Moody too, both of them.
Yeah.
I would heap as much on them as you're doing to Jimmy Butler. I mean, okay, Jimmy Butler was brought in to work with Steph. Steph ain't there now. Y'all got to work with Jimmy. Jimmy can't do it by himself. Jimmy's never done it by himself.
Never.
No, never.
Mm-mm.
He's gotten close.
Yeah.
That was Miami a little bit.
Yeah, gotten close, but he just
Chicago, yeah.
Chicago, Miami. It's close, but he can't finish. He just can't do it by himself. Just can't.
Gotta get his head right. You gotta be more team oriented. And it goes back to what I was saying, that basketball knowledge, right? Of thinking long term, thinking about 3-4 steps ahead. Think about maybe 2 games ahead as to where you need to be physically, mentally, emotionally, and how your team needs to gel with that. And that's why you see some of these teams that are able to stand that test of time. I really don't see Golden State doing too much with this. I do think that Minnesota, and I say this again as a Lakers fan, that Minnesota definitely surprised some heads really quickly. I do think that AE kind of, I don't like to compare players to players, but AE kind of gives me like kind of like a Gary Payton kind of feel. And not like a Gary Payton meaning like just the trash talk, just the influence that he has over players mentally. And part of the reason why, we know trash talk exists is to take people out of their game. And he's done that. I think he's done that effectively, but also delivered on the other end. So I'm excited to see how far this plays out and what Minnesota wants to do for next year to really complement this team that has done stuff with, not as much as they thought they actually had. So it'll be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing I will say is, as a Laker fan, and of course as a true sports fan, a lot of people were downplaying the Minnesota Timberwolves because of them getting rid of Karl Anthony Towns and not them making it this far in the NBA playoffs. But if you just put it into perspective, they're one win away from getting back to another Western Conference final where they were last year, where they lost to the Dallas Mavericks. So even with what they started, they started off the NBA season really off balance. They weren't playing with rhythm. They weren't playing with style, and they had some issues. And then fast forward, here we are in the second round. They're up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors, who, again, when healthy, this Warriors team can be anybody. But right now, give credit where credit is due. And also, they send our Lakers fishing, or my Lakers fishing. They're one win away, Brian, from the Western Conference Final. And
hey,
I know for a fact you didn't have them going to the Western Conference Final.
Well, I didn't.
I know damn sure I haven't. All right.
I didn't. I had them winning in the first round. You got Lakers in 5, doing all that stuff. I had them. I had them out.
I said it. Your loss, my loss, Monty Moss, Lakers in 5. It didn't happen, and I'll take accountability for it. It didn't happen. I'm sorry. Lakers went fishing. And speaking of the Dallas Mavericks, 1.8% chance to get the first round pick and this year's NBA lottery draft. Of course, we do know who will be the number 1 draft pick this year. The Mavericks already came out publicly and said that they aren't trading the number 1 draft pick, with, of course, everyone making all these rumors. But Cooper Flagg will be on the way to Dallas. Dallas will be the first city in sports history to not also have the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft, but also have the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. We do know Paige Beckers, or AKA Paige Buckets, is with the Dallas Wings. But now Cooper Flagg is getting ready to select a beautiful house in the state that Brian's going to be going to in a few years to build his retirement home. Great state of Texas. Mavericks, earlier, a few months ago, Nico Harrison was on the hot seat for being fired, death threats. Of course, he had security personnel at his house when he had to lay his head at night for making the worst trade in NBA history with the loss of Luka Doncic. But fast forward, now he's glorified again, at least for right now, with getting the number 1 pick. Jay, what's your thoughts on the Mavericks having the number 1 pick, of course, for this year's upcoming NBA draft? And should people start putting stock into Cooper Flagg being the savior for this Mavericks team with, of course, the return of Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis next year?
No. Okay, Cooper comes, and you have Kyrie later in the season, and you have AD, who may stay healthy, he may not. Who's going to play with Cooper? I mean, he can't. Again, he's not going to be the savior if he's got to save everybody all by himself. So I'm not sure about the team they're going to put around him. On paper, in the best case scenario, I like Cooper, Kyrie, and AD with a healthy Lively and Gafford, but we don't play the games on paper.
That is true. Brian, what was your reaction for the Mavs getting the number 1 pick with the 1.8% chance and Cooper Flagg soon to be a Maverick?
Oh, they saved chaos. That's about it. Cooper couldn't save the Duke when they played against Houston. How you going to expect him to save them at Dallas? Just, he's not going to be that guy. I mean, he's going to be great for them, but they need one extra person. They just do. And Anthony Davis, my Chicagoan, my brother, he can't play a full season. He just can't stay healthy. I mean, he's like, it's like there's somebody holding kryptonite in his shoes or something that he's always getting hurt every 15 seconds. I put no stock and no trust in him. I don't even expect him to play no more than 20, 25 games moving forward. And you got to monitor his minutes. Just really, that team is it's full of injuries. It's just depleted right now, and they're a couple of years away, a couple other draft picks or some trades here and there. They just need to do some other things. They just dismantled this team, and it's a shame. It's a disservice. And I kind of think it was done on purpose. I think this scenario and this deal was done way before. That's why they did it. And I put no trust in anything with the NBA, NFL, stuff that goes on behind the scenes. We're not privy to it, but they are, and they know what they're doing. And just to up and get rid of players just like that, and then next thing you know, you get the first round pick out of nowhere, and it's 1.8% chance. Come on, whoever knows that, tell me the lottery numbers so I can go play them all. It's just what it is. I don't understand it, but hey, they do.
It's the frozen envelope, gentlemen. Frozen envelope. It is here. I have it. It reads here exactly what was done. The blueprint was put out. I am so happy as a Lakers fan because I knew AD was not it. It was not going to happen. And I'm so glad that we just made that move to get Luka into the mix. Now, what does that also say, right? The writing is on the wall. We know LeBron is already dealing with, playing 22 seasons. We know what's going to be happening soon, right? However, I do think that
don't say Bronny.
Hey, listen, no. I ain't not saying no. Ain't anybody saying nothing about no Bronny. No. We're not saying that. The writing was already on the wall with AD for years already. Okay, how many series did we watch over the last 2-3 years where AD was just not delivering the way that he needed to deliver?
Well, wait. To his credit, they won the title.
We did,
and they were supposed to win it.
Yeah,
I mean,
in a bubble.
They were supposed to do there in the bubble.
Right.
In a
wait, hold up. Don't do that because
I'm going to do it.
San Antonio did it with a shortened season, and everybody was sitting there talking about, they're great or whatever. And who they go against? The New York Knicks, 1999. So at the end of the day, I'm not even trying to hear that bubble debate, right? Basketball is basketball. When people are playing, they're playing. Now, I'm gonna tell you like this also, okay? I'm gonna tell you like this. When it comes to AD, right? AD had his time, New Orleans going into LA. He had that time. There was a prime time where they tried to build a squad around him for years on end. The thing about it was AD was never a true big man. AD was a point guard, basically playing in the paint, sort of, because he was big. If you look at his footwork, right? Look at how much he just would fall all over the place. If he went up against an Embiid would always just like body him. If he went up against a Joker, he was always getting bodied. He was always on the outside. The new type of game. No disrespect to AD. I'm glad he got us championship number 17, right? I'm so glad that he was there for that time. We still need.
You got the Minneapolis championships still?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't.
Oh man, boy.
I don't.
If the Nets count the ABA as championships, right? If other teams count, what is it, the AFL that counts?
So do the Packers count all those Super Bowls?
Right. Let's think about that, right?
Now you stretching it. That's just the bubble. You stretched it. Now you really stretched it. Like you made this stretch Armstrong.
Listen, everybody has their barometer as to what they count as a championship or not, right?
See, I live with a hardcore Celtics fan, so I
there you go. So the big thing is, honestly, I think that he stood his purpose to get us that chip when they had that team. When they brought LeBron in, you had a good squad around them, right? You had Caruso, you had KCP. They had the pieces there. From that point on, I think he just got complacent, to be perfectly honest with you. And so when you see that from a team, especially like the Lakers, they're still trying to stay up to that caliber, right? They don't want to go through what they did into the 90s where it was just trash after Magic retired. So I think that, I like AD. Quite honestly, though, I think AD was a little too soft at the end.
Greg, so answer this for me, right? Since we're talking Lakers, which gets to my next point.
Sure.
Lakers trade for Luka Doncic. Austin Reeves getting ready to either get paid by the Lakers or get paid by someone else.
Right.
But we were supposed to get Mark Williams. The Lakers didn't get that. And, of course, the Lakers had a very small ball team with Jackson Hayes, who was a non-factor for the Lakers in that first-round series against the Timberwolves. But from your perspective as a Laker fan, of course, being a Laker realist, counting the NBA bubble championship, thank you for that, because Bryant will lose his mind any other day about it. What direction do the Lakers need to go going into this NBA offseason? Of course, with LeBron James having a player option at age 40, $50 million salary this past year, where do you see the Lakers going with Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss in the front office in terms of pieces that the Lakers need to not also get back to the playoffs, but be in a position to be a championship contender?
For one, you need that defensive center. You need that defensive person. You need that big person. You need that presence, right? Luka's going to be on the outside the entire time. You need that rebound. It's going to give you at least 13 a game. You definitely need a defensive guard as well, because now in today's league, it's a defensive league where you need to be able to guard these fast-paced teams, these teams like Indiana, these teams like Golden State even, right? These teams like even Boston. Right, you need people that are going to be able to withstand that. So you need some durable people. Another thing you definitely need is, again, it's hard to really find players that have that basketball knowledge, right? And when I'm talking about knowledge, I'm just going to bring Kobe up, right? Knowing that someone's going to take 25 shots, they're probably going to make maybe 15 to 20. If they're a good shooter, they're probably going to make that much, right? But when are they going to actually be taking their shots? When do they actually tend to take their shots? Do they tend to take them in the beginning of the game, mid, and do they tend to go mid-range? Do they tend to get tired towards the end? Those types of things that just by statistics alone and by chance, that you're going to have your opportunity to actually kind of size up and offset what they're going to be able to do. If you have players that are like that and team-oriented, I think the Lakers can definitely still be a very big playoff contender. I think that gives a little bit off of LeBron, which we've been saying for the last couple of years. I think that really brings a lot more of the power that the Lakers have had for so long. I think that brings it back.
Jay, I'll get your opinion on this because you've covered the NBA for a pretty long time, and you've seen some crazier things happen in free agency. With the Lakers, of course, having their franchise player, the next pretty much generation for the Lakers to build around is Luka Doncic, with LeBron not getting any younger. What direction do you think the Lakers should go, in your opinion, to build around Luka and to put a winning formula together for JJ Redick entering year 2 as Lakers head coach?
That's a tough question. I think maybe the Lakers should do what Dallas was doing. That was a good team around Luka. Throwing the lobs, athletic, defensive, someone that can cover up Luka's warts because he's not going to play much defense. That lets him roam on the offensive end. That's the kind of team that the Lakers should trade for the Mavericks. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. They should. Y'all didn't think that was funny? No, really. They should trade. They should go back to Nico Harrison and say, we need to give us your team so we can put it around Luka, because y'all went to the finals with that, and that's what they need.
It's very true.
The Mavericks.
Yeah, I think Grandpa need to go into coaching. I think he's OG is almost done, and he'll be a great coach one day. He can coach right next to his partner and let these young guys get up and down the court. He's almost 43, 44 years old. Man, go sit down somewhere. These guys here that's playing right now, I think they were like 5 and 6 years old when you was in the league when you first started. So it's time. It's time. You
know what? I'm gonna stand up. See what I'm gonna bring my gray hair out. I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna stand up for the old man in the league, right? I'm gonna stand up for the old man in the league. The brother can still play.
Yeah, he can
play.
He can.
I would say go to Cleveland. Go to Cleveland. Go back to Cleveland.
Hey,
go back to Cleveland.
Hey, look.
He's gonna pull D-Wade, go back to where he came from.
I don't think he want to go back there, but
no,
he don't want to go back there.
No, I'm saying he don't want to go back to Miami. I'm saying that's what D-Wade did. D-Wade went to Chicago, came back to Miami after that.
Yeah. That's a whole different scenario.
Back to
but he can play. But these guys are getting faster. He's slowed down quite a bit. He's not the same LeBron as he was before, but yet he can still play. He's athletically gifted. He's a freak of nature. I give him that. But yet, these teams are getting younger. You know what I mean? And they're starting to come out at 18 and 19 years old. Well, some now 20. You got pros that are playing in college right now. And these guys are coming out at 25 years old, ready to go. And he's in his 40s. And, LeBron's not going to play any defense. He's going to point the finger. That's what he'll orchestrate.
He was one of their better defensive players this year.
And that's scary.
He was.
That is very scary.
Well,
that's scary.
And now, I'm going to show my age a little bit. It's kind of like when Mike went from the athletic freak to the jump shot Mike, the turnaround Mike.
Mm-hmm.
He found a different role, found a way to impact the game in a different spot. LeBron is smart enough to do that. If we get some, if JJ Redick would coach him into that direction, or if wherever LeBron decides to go, I mean, you play where he's most effective at this age, because he's still very effective. He can still pass like nobody's business.
Yep.
He may not be able to run up and down the court all the time, and he might get a few more injuries, but he could still play. And I think he's earned the right to do it as long as he wants to do it. If he can maintain his effectiveness, put him in a place where he can be effective.
As long as he don't walk off the court with 6 minutes left to go in a game or 3 minutes to go in a game, he'll be all right. But, when he pouts and he moans, I swear, it makes a coach like myself. I sit there and I look at him do that and I just cringe. Because next thing you know, if I go to practice and I see one of my players try that mess, I'm stopping the game and I'm going after them. I'm handle business. But he can't walk off the court during the course of a game. Don't shake anybody's hand, because you have icons in there. This generation look up to him like he's God. I've never seen anything like it. And they're going to emulate his behaviors. So not saying that he does it all the time, but he does it enough to where, kids pay attention. So, man, if you're losing, sit there and take the L.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I talk to my students all the time about this. And in fact, took the kids to a game, and one kid, I'm gonna use the Jets, but he's a Dolphins fan. He's a huge Dolphins fan. So here he comes out, and he's got all of his gear on. He's ready. He's talking smack, yada, 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 yada. Dolphins lose. We had a bet, so we had to wear the Jets gear the next day at school, right? Homeboy was a great sport. Didn't even complain about it. Didn't say anything about it. Didn't pout about it. He's like, you know what? A bet is a bet. A win is a win, right? That's something that's very, very rare that you see out of these kids now. That they can be able to say, you know what? In the field of competition, someone actually wins today and I lost today. And you know what? I can get back up and I can fight again, right? I think that because we have such a microwave and such a instant gratification kind of generation, that sometimes they don't see that other work. And sometimes they don't, it's normal to them to see a LeBron play at 40, because to him or to them, he seems timeless. Like he's never going to go away. He's never going to retire. We're never going to see him play his last game in their minds. So, we remember most of the guys that I grew up watching, they had to retire because of injury. They weren't even able to play, a last game or whatever the case like that. I mean, Kobe was an anomaly in and of itself too. But to be honest, I think that, to Jay's point, seeing him being able to be out there and be a viable force still at this age, playing with these guys, I think there's something to stand for that. I think he's still got some damage to do.
Hey, let him play. Let him play. So, the Bulls can catch up and do their thing and start kicking their ass. I don't care. Let them play.
Which Bulls? Who are you talking about?
The Chicago Bulls.
Which one?
Did you?
The Phil Jackson Bulls or the Billy Donovan Bulls?
No, Billy Donovan. I don't know why they don't fire the guy. That's and Jay, and I say this my cousin plays for the Bulls.
The Tim Floyd Bulls.
Javon Carter. And Tim Floyd, that is aggravating as hell to sit there and watch that day in and day out, and they still think the man is coaching at Florida. Like, he's not going to win any championships there. He's under 500. And he's been there almost staying there 12 years. Like, what the hell?
5 years.
Huh?
Been there since 2020. Been there since
It seemed like 12. You see what I mean? It's like when is enough is enough. You fire a guy in Denver, and he made the damn playoffs. This guy here is barely. He's under 500, and you keeping him another year?
Mm.
Yeah, Bulls got a lot to think about this NBA offseason. But if there's anyone that has been miserable in years of losing and years of torture, it is the New York Jets. However, Greg, the New York Jets have made some interesting moves this offseason, bringing in quarterback Justin Fields, who will reunite with his Ohio State wide receiver, Mr. Garrett Wilson, who them two at Ohio State just took names and the carnage, raised all type of hell, and they're reunited. But you bring in a new quarterback, you brought in a new head coach, you brought in a new offensive coordinator. How do you feel about the New York Jets this upcoming offseason, and how much trust do you have in Justin Fields as your new number one starting quarterback?
So I do have trust in Justin Fields, and this is what 2 or 3 years overdue, where he should have been drafted by the Jets in the first place over that person named Zach Wilson, for a lack of a better term. What I will say is this: the New York Jets really need to let consistency play out. They need to let a system play out. The problem with that I think that they have is they never let a system go to fruition. In the New York sports field, that's always a huge deal. Is they want to win immediately. And we understand that. But in order to do that with a system, this system has to play itself out. I'm very, very excited to see this pair back together. I am excited for their draft pick in I forget his name. The offensive lineman that they just hired.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
That's really been the crux of this whole thing. I'm tired of seeing people like Mekhi Becton leave the Jets and go to the Eagles and all of a sudden become a champion. Like, what the hell is that all about, right? Mm-hmm. It bothers me. But to be honest with you, I'm very, very excited to see. To be honest, I'm excited to see a black quarterback play for the Jets and start, and someone that has a reputation. I'm gonna break it there, right? And here's why. Because the New York market, especially the New York Jets, have always, relied behind a Zach Wilson or a Joey Flacco or Neil O'Donnell or a Brett Favre. Some people that
Chad Pennington,
who have been, no reputation whatsoever. Now to try to go with a different system that is reputable, I think that's a good thing too, right? And you have a coach that is one that has experienced this game, that has that fire, that has that energy that I think the Jets need. The Jets coaches have always been these docile guys, right? The last person I saw that was very in your face was Rex Ryan. And I loved him as the Jets coach because he just brought some fire to the team that they weren't used to really having, right? So I think that this is going to be a good year for the Jets. I would like to see them go 500, to be perfectly honest with you, be a playoff contender, maybe a wild card team, and then show that they are, they are making some development. And who knows, anything can happen, right? I mean, look at Detroit. A couple of years ago, Detroit, nobody was looking at them. Next thing you know, Detroit smacking people in their faces. So with some bad calls in the playoffs by their head coach, but that's a different story. But I'm excited to see that. I think that'll be a good. It'll be a good hit for the Jets this year.
Did you say good year and Jets in the same sentence?
Absolutely, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Hey, look, I'm rooting for the Jets because I'm a fan of Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. I like Justin. I like Justin a lot. A lot of people. Chicago, they just couldn't stand him. I was rooting for him all the way through. Pittsburgh, I was rooting for Pittsburgh when he was there. I was pissed when they decided after he went 4-2 to make him sit the bench. I'm like, well, what are you doing? I just let him finish the year. But, now he's going to get there and get a chance to play all 16, 17 games. And I think with his legs, man, he's going to create some havoc, and make some defenses pay. Especially when he got his old receiver there. That connection there is something that muscle memory you can't forget. So at the end of the day, he knows him. He knows the other one. I think that you guys, do go 8-8 or 9-8 or 9-7 or whatever it may be. I think you're going to have a successful year this year, and a new coach too, and a new system. You can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's great for Justin, for something new that is new for everybody, so he doesn't feel like an outsider. I think this is the right fit for him, and I hope he does well until they play the Bears. And I don't think the Bears is on you guys' schedule this year. So,
listen.
I'll say one thing. Don't ever say with the New York Jets that you can't go wrong. Okay, because I remember like it was yesterday, that fateful day, 9/11. I will never forget it. It was heartbreaking, right? But I thank you for the optimism, brother. I think.
One more thing that Brian forgot to say. I know the Bears are on the schedule, but if you look on the screen, you see that they have a home game against New England Patriots and they have a away game against New England Patriots. And one thing for sure, two things for certain, as my grandma used to say, 0-2 against the Patriots this year, brother. Guarantee. Jay, bringing in Aaron Glenn, former Jet. Jets did draft him early on in his career coming out of college. What do you think Jets fans should be excited for with Aaron Glenn being the new captain of this ship for the Jets organization?
I like his demeanor. I like his attitude. I like his fire. I like the fact that he's young. He's vibrant. I, too, am a Justin Fields fan. I know we rag on the Jets a lot, and they've deserved it over the years.
Thanks, Jay.
I'm sorry. My apologies.
Coming in peace, y'all. Coming in peace.
But I think they're gonna be okay this season. I do.
They will.
I do. They're Brees is gonna be healthy in the backfield. He's a really good running back when he's healthy. I mean, I think they're going to be okay. The defense is still good. I think the Jets still make some noise. I do. I'm not sure. The Patriots are better too. I'm not sure the Patriots are going to own them. I'm not sure about what you just said, Monty. I think the Jets might surprise.
I understand. One thing I will say that I think is an underrated hire for the Jets, and that's bringing in defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, who got a bad rep out when he was let go from the 49ers. In my opinion, he was not the reason why the 49ers lost when they lost in the playoffs a few years ago and Steve Wilks being canned. I think what Steve Wilks bringing to this organization, especially from a defensive perspective, he knows how to put a good championship roster defense together. He's had the championship pedigree for Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, and that's a really good hire I think the Jets need. Of course, the Jets being a top 5 defense last year, you add on, of course, with Steve Wilks and his mastermind coming in, it's only going to be great for the New York Jets defense. Offensively, of course, I look forward to see what kind of system they put in place with Justin Fields. And, of course, having Garrett Wilson on the outside, who grew a lot of frustrations at the end last year with Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers being gone. But if you're a Jet fan like Greg, you should be excited going into this year. Unfortunately, the Jets won't be on Hard Knocks, so fans won't have to waste their time with that. But we shall see with things coming up. But I have 2 questions for Jay. Well, 1 question for Jay and 1 question for Greg. I'll ask it collectively. I'm not sure if you guys are a fan of hot takes, but each and every week on the Rewind, Bryant comes up with the crazy. Each week he picks something out of the woodworks that he puts together for on the Rewind, where you don't know what he's going to say or how he's going to say it. But if you guys like hot takes, it's about that time, folks. So here we go with this week's edition of Coach Bryant Garvin's Hot Take.
Now, guys, these young guys that's on Facebook and Instagram and wherever it may be, they're ranting and raving about the New York Knicks this year and saying how great this team is. It's probably the best team that Knicks has ever had, ever. And I'm sitting here saying there's no way in hell they would beat that 90 Knicks team. Not a chance in hell in the same era. I'm sitting there saying, and I put it on books, and I will put money on it. I think that this Knicks team sucks compared to that team there. That team will beat them like a baby dog. It's just what it is. This generation think that this team will just destroy the 90s team. What is your take on that particular series if the 90s team will play this 2025 team out of 7 games? Who wins?
I'm going to say this new team can do it. They can. I think they can. Not. No way. No damn way. There is no – listen. How could you look Anthony Mason in the eye and not just want to just like say, yo, bro, you got it, bro. I got it. I don't know.
What?
I don't want any issues. Okay, and look at it. Look at him. He's sitting next to Doc Rivers. Most of these kids don't even know Doc Rivers played for the Knicks. Okay, look at him. Look at him. He's just looking, just ready to pounce on somebody. Why would you even want to have an issue with that dude? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I wouldn't even have an issue with Pat Riley. Like, come on. Nah. There's no way that team has anything up to the type of grit and fight and heart and just passion. And I'm going to say this. I've been saying this all program. Basketball knowledge that this team had. Right?
Starks and Brunson,
stop playing. Stop playing.
First off, who's guarding Greg Anthony?
What? No one. You can put Hubert Davis in front of Josh Hart, and Hubert Davis would trash him. And Hubert Davis only played how many games? Come on now.
I know for a fact that Karl Anthony Towns won't have a good offensive night that night with Mr. Mason and Patrick Ewing down low holding the force down for Pat Riley's next defense. I'll tell you that right now. There's just no way.
We don't even see Charles Oakley yet. We don't even have Charles Oakley in that equation yet. And we're sitting here talking about this team that has a hard time defending a B team of the Boston Celtics right now.
This is why I don't respect this NBA. This whatever this is. I'm like, no, this is freaking basketball and throwing up 101 damn threes.
Yeah. No.
Hey, what's your take on this this lovely debate between the 90s Knicks and the 2025 Knicks in a 7-game series?
I mean, I lean the 90s team. I do. Probably because I'm a product of that era. And I would trust those guys. But I'm curious, whose rules are we playing under? Because if we're playing under current rules, I might have to go with the current team because they're not going to get touched. You can't body them, you can't bully them, and they're going to run circles around those guys. They just are. If you play 90s rules, I'm going with the 90s team because defense will be much more of a factor in that game.
I'm still going with the 90s teams.
Yeah, but who's going to score? I mean, you look back at those 90s teams, look back at the whole league. I mean, you had games in the 80s, you had games in the 70s, you had some games in the 60s.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, this current Knicks team, as bad as they are with starting, especially against Boston, with starting the game, they will finish it. They will score some points. And Brunson, if you can't put a body on him, he will shoot your lights out. So I'm leaning towards
taking 29 shots.
I'm leaning 90s, but I want to know whose rules we playing under because I think it makes a difference.
If the officials sit there and swallow their whistle and let them play that physical game like they supposed to, because I said supposed like they supposed to,
like they supposed to,
Not this just cherry picking, and you can do a step back and take 4 steps back and be able to shoot fadeaway threes without calling travel.
Hey, that's a gather step now. Hey, I agree with you, but that's a gather step now. Hey,
it's like all right, you're driving forward, and then next thing you know, you take a gather step and then another 2. Look at your feet, make sure you're behind the 3-point line to shoot.
It's bad.
It's bad, man. It's just bad.
It's really bad. The era where you can shoot 49 3-pointers in an NBA game and actually win.
Well, I mean, that's what they do. That's what they do. I mean, I'll be honest with you, right? Just the idea of a mobile center back in the day was something that was kind of unheard of unless you had Hakeem, unless you had Shaq. I'll put even Rick Smits in that damn category, right? Because what did Rick Smits do? He would spread the floor because he could shoot, right? Sam Perkins, another one, could shoot threes. That was an anomaly. Sam
Robinson.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So I think that to Jay's point, it definitely depends on the kind of rules that we're playing. I ain't got that. I don't get this team beating that 90s team. They have too much. They have too much heart and too much prowess to even let this team get onto the court with them, let alone last 2 quarters. To be honest with you, I think that they have a lot more grit. I think they have a lot more fight. I think they have that it factor that this team has athleticism, but they don't have the other side of it. The knowledge of the game is so underrated. Knowledge of the game. I know, Jalen, you're gonna take 40 shots. I know you're gonna take 39 shots. I'm gonna make sure
you might not get that.
But I'm gonna make sure
get that.
If we can't hand check, I'm rolling with the current team because they're not going to outscore. Towns is going to take Patrick out on the perimeter where he likes to be.
Yep.
They're not going to be able to guard Brunson. They're not going to be able to guard Bridges. Josh Hart is going to do his little thing and we get rebounds and stuff. And they're just going to spread him out.
Starks can guard Brunson.
Who can guard Brunson?
Starks
at 6'5".
Who's 6'5"?
Starks was 6'5".
Right, yeah, that's right. Starks was shut. Brunson is slow as a turd. He's not that fast.
Yeah.
He's slow as hell.
Slow as a turd. My goodness.
He's slow. He gets it off. He has the herky-jerky move. He gets it off. He's not that fast.
This was supposed to be hot take, not slow turd. What is this? What is this?
Look, it's a debate. It's a debate we will put in the people's hands. 1990s Knicks versus 2025 New York Knicks team today. Who wins in 7-game series? We'll put that out to the people coming up within the next few days, and we'll let the people decide. Because look, as Jay said, if we can hand check Brunson, all that stuff, setting screens, all that stuff's out the window. It's gonna be a day in hell for Jalen Brunson offensively. And look, we talk about Pat Riley, one of the greatest coaches of all time. He's out coaching Tom Thibodeau with his eyes closed. Let's just call it for what it is. And at the end of the day, the physicality down low. Karl-Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson, you're not getting a rebound over Mason. You're not getting a rebound over Patrick Ewing. It'll be a day in hell down low for sure. And look, when's the last time Karl-Anthony Towns actually had to defend a big down low? Most of these bigs today, we look at Joker, we look at Embiid, we look at Anthony Davis. They're not playing back to the basket anymore. They're playing inside out, or they're doing pick and pop. They're shooting 3-pointers from top of the key, left wing, right wing, corner. When you got to guard Patrick Ewing down low offensively for 40 minutes, Patrick Ewing's got a bag of tricks that can last him from Monday to Sunday. Good Lord be with you. So,
hey, Monty, Patrick Ewing won't miss that shot. When he played against the Bulls, he won't miss this shot in this era. I tell you that shit.
Get into our last segment of the night. It is time for Floss with Moss. I'm pissed off. Let's go. America came on this platform a few episodes ago, and I was praising, and I was rooting, and I was thriving on the Toronto Maple Leafs, who've been one of the best teams, if not arguably the best team in the NHL this year. They've held down the home court 27-13-1 at home. They were 52-26 this year in the NHL. They were a team that pretty much was hot coming into the playoffs. But now they're in a situation where they're down against the defending champs of Florida Panthers, who the Florida Panthers have had a pretty much up and down year. They've been mediocre on the road. They played a lot better at home. But came out to start this series. They took a 2-0 lead over the defending champs at the Stanley Cup. They're now down 3-2. Florida Panthers team took care of business, winning not also home last game, dominating tonight's game, winning 6-1 on the road in Toronto, going back home up 3-2. Coming into this game, I felt Toronto had to take things to another level. The Panthers, they're playing right now like they won the Stanley Cup last year. My opinion, this series, or when I look at the Maple Leafs on paper, Jace has said it before early in the show, nothing on paper matters. Toronto Maple Leafs has a better advantage. Toronto at home, I thought they were supposed to take care of business to go up 3-2, going back to Florida, but it's just been not really too happy. Florida Panthers scored 3 goals in the second period, and they scored another 2 in the third period, and they came out and whooped the Maple Leafs' ass to win 6-1. So Maple Leafs, Chris, shout out to our producer Chris, who holds it down each and every week. I'm not too happy about this Toronto Maple Leafs team right now. And the end may be near. And, you were talking all year about how good this team is and how great this team can be in the NHL playoffs. Right now, they get ready to go fishing. I'm getting the boat ready, prepared right there at Toronto Bay, where we'll meet you there. The boat be filled up, gas tank full. And I thought Chris was coming in and talk some shit. Guess not. It is what it is. But the next game will be on Saturday in Florida. And this Panthers Maple Leafs team they've lost in the last 3 games in this series. I don't think Toronto has what it takes. But final thoughts, final take. Bryant, any last words before we sign out? Actually, let me put it in the guest hands. Let me start with Greg. Greg, any last comments, as well as give your social media where people can find you and follow you and support you? Floor is yours.
Absolutely. If anybody is interested, I'm the proud principal of Plainfield Academy for the Arts and Advanced Studies. Plainfield Public Schools on the map. We just celebrated our boys basketball team being the overall state champions in the state of New Jersey. These boys have been doing some great stuff, so congratulations to them. If you'd like to follow me on Facebook, name is Greg Sneed. On Facebook, Instagram, GSneed5. So by all means, feel free to check me out on either one of those platforms. I am a musician as well, so I play in Newark very often. So again, I appreciate this opportunity to just share some of my knowledge of sports and my love for sports and my love for my New York Jets, contrary to these 3 bozos here. So with that being said, as I always say, and more importantly, shout out
to me a bozo.
Jabronis, but no, but
now I'm a jabroni.
But in all honesty, listen, it's good to see brothers just coming together and having a great conversation about sports and our contribution to it, and more importantly, how much we enjoy it and how much we really appreciate how it's developed over the years. So with that being said, brothers, have a wonderful, wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so much. And again, we'll see you guys soon. Be well, be safe, and be blessed.
Jay?
I don't know if I could top that. That was really good. Jay Harris, ESPN on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, because I don't like the other name. I still call it Twitter. And for the you said for the older folks on Facebook, it's just Jay Harris, and look for my picture, because that's where I see the older folks like to congregate on Facebook. I've enjoyed it. Good talking to y'all.
Hey, look, it was great to have you 2 guys come on. I could do some laughing here at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Monty always takes us over to an hour and a half, and this is my 18th episode. I never thought I'd be doing some stuff like this.
17th.
17, 18.
You had 1 week off.
I'm losing count here. Hey, help me along here. But it's good to see some good brothers come on here and meet Jay and doing this thing on ESPN and Principal G. I may come back to work, and ask you for a job. Who knows? It's what it is. And shout out to Plainfield High School. I watched them all year long on social media, and that was one hell of a basketball team. They did a great job all year long, and they were ranked number 1 in the state of New Jersey this year. And it's a big shout out to the public schools in New Jersey. They can do it as long as the rules allow them to do the same thing as the Catholics and all the charter schools as well. But I had a great time with you guys, and man, I look forward to doing this again. And we got some great stuff coming up here at the end of June with boxing that we're going to talk about. We're going to do some things live with boxing as well. And this, I know some boxing guys that's in our group on GSE3 that's on Facebook. I know they're going to be looking forward to that. And I know they probably want to come out. I see Charlie Mitchell out there. I know he's a big boxing head. And I'm looking forward to that at the end of June, and it's going to be great with MMA fighters and some also some judges and whatever it may be. We're going to put that thing together and do something fantastic. So look out for that. And Monty, this episode 17, we're doing a great job, man. We're going to keep rolling.
18.
We're going to do 1,017. I look forward to that. And let's keep it rocking and rolling, baby.
Yeah, salute GS3. Nice job. Very nice.
Appreciate it, Greg. If you guys haven't, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell a mother, tell your sister, tell your cousin, tell your uncle, tell a friend, tell your girlfriend, tell your wife, tell your husband. Share. We need the subscribers. We need all the help we can get at the @rewind_GSC3, as well as follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, X, as they say, or Jay says Twitter, Facebook, at Global Sports Entertainment, or the @rewind_GSC3. We are on Facebook as well with our own sports group on Facebook at Global Sports Entertainment 3. You guys can join. We are a private group. We have our own conversations. We have a great team. Shout out to our admin team that held it down each and every day. Thank you. Special thank you to our producer, Chris, in 1990 Studios. Without him believing in our vision, we wouldn't be 18 weeks strong of the Rewind. We still have probably 100,000 to go, but we're going to keep pushing, keep grinding. To my guest, to our guest tonight, we want to say thank you for coming on. Bless us with your time and your presence and your knowledge. You can catch this episode tomorrow, coming out on all platforms, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday. And from Bryant Garvin, my co-host, to Greg Sneed, to Jay Harris, I'm Monty Moss signing off. Episode 18 in the books to Rewind. The journey, the road continues. The journey is reward. You can catch this tomorrow, as I said, on all platforms. Enjoy the NBA playoffs this weekend. Enjoy the NHL playoffs this weekend. And I have one more thing for Chris before we go. Go Panthers. See you guys next week.
Let's go!
I was checking out the scouting report, and I don't see nothing but bums. You and your whole entire world know that I am the one. You and your squad ain't got nothing for me.
Hey.
Your organization is looking stressed,
What?
and now that you haters is running from me, I know that you see that I'm highly blessed.
Here we go. Yeah, we live with your boy Coach G. Yeah, we live with your boy Monty.
You and your squad ain't got nothing for me. Your organization is looking stressed, and now that you haters is running from me,